Welcome to another Monday Morning Pastor, where we look at something from Sunday's sermon to help us get through the week. And last week, the Oxford Dictionary came out with their word of the year. Now, previous words of the year were vape, selfie, carbon footprint, toxic, and vax. Now, drum roll for this year's word of the year. It's the word, a slang word, RIZZ. RIZZ, R-I-Z-Z, and it, of course, comes from the word charisma. Charisma. Now, we all probably know what charisma is. Somebody said if you have to ask, you probably don't have it. Much the same was said when Louis Armstrong, the great jazz trumpeter and singer, was asked, how do you know if you have jazz? And Louis said, if you have to ask, you ain't got it. So RIZZ is charisma. And what does charisma mean? Well, today it means rich in character and in warmth and attractiveness. People are drawn to you. But that wasn't the original meaning of the word. The word charisma comes from a wonderful Greek word, charizomai, which means abounding in grace, generosity, kindness, and forgiveness. Listen to this. Abounding in grace, generosity, kindness, and forgiveness. And it's generally applied to God, but it also applies to his people. Here's the verse that we were looking at last Sunday in church. It has the Greek word charizomai in it. It's from 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 12, talking about the Spirit that God gives us. Paul says, what we have received is not the spirit of the world, but the Spirit who is from God, so that we may understand what God has freely given us. And there's the word there, charizomai, freely given us. Again, it's the idea of abounding in grace, generosity, kindness, and forgiveness. And first of all, that applies to God. That's what God does, and that's what we are celebrating this Christmas season. God's gift, God's grace, and God's generosity. But the application is clear as to whether or not we could say those words about ourselves. Are we rich or abounding in grace, generosity, kindness, and forgiveness? So go out and have some RIZZ, be a person of RIZZ, share RIZZ, and have a great day.